Hello, and welcome to this part of the pond of the Bullfrog Reviews. And we're doing a book review. I'm doing a book review on The Witchwood Crown by Tad Williams. A king and queen are on a high. Sorry. A high king and queen are on their progress, going around their kingdom. And they still mourn the loss of their son. It's been a few years, but yet the wound is still too fresh. But the crown is not in desperate need of, oh crap, because there is an heir, their grandson. But there's some hesitancy. The boy is arrogant. He's foolish and reckless. And he's to be the next High King, the man to inherit an empire. Both the high royals want to mold their grandson, but after the loss of their own flesh and blood, their own boy, one can help but feel they're overprotective, while the other feels like the boy is reckless. The boy needs a few smacks across the face, and the heir to all this feels like he's being put on a high pedestal that he can't match, not out of the fact of spite or he has a lot to fill in. No, he feels like that he and his grandparents are at war, that the High King and High Queen do not want him to inherit. While that is going on, the evil stirs again. The queen of their enemy has been in this coma sleep for many a decade, trying to learn, trying to grow. And those that are in power send out a task force, this elite group of fighters, these queen's talons, if you will. And they're going from covert mission to covert mission. And most of them don't know what they're doing, but something sinister is afoot. And a human is following right behind them, a hunter, trying to learn what are they up to. And as this goes, again, the queen of the villains is in a coma sleep. And those who are in charge is this magistrate of leaders. And one of them is the head of the builders. And he's been enjoying his seat in power and has been, quite comfortable. But his human slave whispers that something dark is going to happen. That maybe the head of magic is up to no good. That the power of the builders and this magistrate may come to an end. That their queen may awaken up once more. Witchwood Crown, people. That's like the basic synopsis. Like I'm telling it right, it's the back cover. And disclaimer. I will be bad with remembering the names. 'Cause I began listening to this right as I began listening, the virus hit America. And we were all scared. I was terrified. And what I do for my job may be considered non-essential to others. And so I was kind of like, as I'm listening to this book, my head wasn't all there because I could lose my job. I had that kind of a fear of not maybe losing my job or I'm not going to work as much. It was terrifying. So my head wasn't all there. So I might not remember all the names. I cannot remember. Well, it's not that I can't remember the book, but the book was like almost the shadow. But I was this shadow, but it held my attention the entire time. While my head was in caution, this book kept my attention through all of it. Sometimes there was a moment in the book where here's me worrying about my job, getting rid of a scratch on a car, and then, wait. Whoa! Whoa, dang. This book got good. My head's not in the game, but yet it still kept me there. And sometimes it came out, and I couldn't help but go, yes, you did good. That is amazing. And I was 2/3 into the book, and I found out that this book, Witchwood Crown, is probably the first book of a trilogy. But this trilogy is actually a sequel to another series. I had no idea. I had no knowledge. I was completely blind to all this background knowledge. And it felt like this book was recalling history. It wasn't exposition. It felt more like the lines of history, like Game of Thrones. And it felt like Game of Thrones, so it wasn't like exposition. It felt more like the lines of, well, here's what this happened back in the time, and this is how this happened. We met. It felt like history, and it was important. Though my head wasn't there, I was able to follow. And I didn't feel like I just stumbled in the middle of something. I felt like I was beginning a book trilogy. And it flowed perfectly. I didn't know this was a sequel series. I could go in blind and don't feel like I was missing anything. That is freaking amazing. And I am against spoilage. But there is a moment in the book where it feels like it's going to be a cliche moment. And it's going to be... sorry. Yeah, a little water. And it felt like it's going to be a cliche moment. And it's going to be, of course. But then, here's the cliche. I feel like Tad did that. He took this cliche and ripped it apart. And it came out of nowhere. It was, wow. I actually had to pause and go, wait a minute. Did that just happen? I think it did. Holy crap! Why am I applauding that? That was sad, but still, dang, you did good. Really good. And it was... And at the end, I was actually wanting to listen to the second book. So, though it was a shadow on my mind, it kept my attention. It threw punches that still made me stutter. And it made me want more. While my head wasn't there. That is amazing. And... again, exposition didn't feel like that much of a heavy exposition, and it was pretty neat. I bet if I give it a re-listen, I would enjoy this book a whole lot more. And where would I put this? I rate books and movies from 1 to 7. Why? Because of this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. A low 3 and a high 3. 4 is in the middle. So there's the half empty and the half full, and then there's the half itself. So 1, 4, 7 are very important. Where 1 is, I would gladly give myself my own personal swirly and say that there is more plot here than it is in the book. Or to a 7, which is, I could read it over and over and over again, and A, still be amazed. B, not feel like I'm watching the same crap, but also not only enjoying it, but it still hooks me and grabs me, and I enjoy every second of that. Wow. Where would I put this? from 1 to 7. Again, it had a shadow of it kept my attention while it was a shadow on my mind. And I bet if I give it a reread, I would enjoy this a lot more. And going off of what I learned and that knowledge, I give this a 6 out of 7. It's that good. I liked it. And the fact that I didn't feel like I was out of place. The stars aligned for this not to do well for me, but it kept me on my pins and needles still. Though there was a shadow there. I really enjoyed it. So everyone, I highly recommend The Witchwood Crown by Tad Williams. And P.S. If you know me, I have a line, and if you go near or close to it 3 to 4 times, depending on how good of a rider you are, but once you cross my line, I'm done. And there's only 2 moments in this book. The first one was a quick skip, 30 seconds. The second one was 2 skip 30 seconds. But other than that, it was good. I mean, it didn't really swear. I liked it. So that put aside, Witchwood Crown, 6 out of 7. Bullfrog recommended. And this is the Bullfrog signing out.